This video is sponsored by Outfox. Outfox is an optimized gaming network that improves gaming performance, stabilizes your connection and lowers ping. It works by routing game traffic through their fast and global network in order to reduce lag. Outfox supports several popular games including PUBG, with more to come. Welcome guys! So many of you have asked me, how can you determine the location of your enemy shooter just by listening to the gunshot? When being shot at, you only have a few seconds to locate your enemy if you want to survive. You need that information to either shoot back or get into cover. This guide will teach you everything you need to know about locating the gunshot of your enemy. And the content of this video is the different sounds a weapon makes, directional sound test and explanation on a straight line, directional sound test in an open environment with realistic examples. In this video, everyone has been equipped with a Kar 98K. The reason is that this is one of the most commonly used sniper rifles, and since you'll get killed by a single bullet to the head if you're not wearing a level 3 helmet, it's very important to hide on the correct side of the tree when being shot at by this weapon. In order to explain how to pinpoint the exact location of the gunshot, we need to separate 4 sound phenomenons. 1. The gunshot sound. 2. The supersonic crack in the air. 3. The whizzing sounds. And 4. The impact sounds. This is a lot, but it's not as complicated as you may think. The gunshot sound is the loud bang you hear when the weapon is fired, and at 300 meters it sounds like this. The supersonic crack in the air is what happens when the bullet exceeds the speed of sound. You only hear that if you're either really close to the shooter or the bullet is passing you very close by, and only from weapons which has a bullet velocity above 340 meters per second. It sounds like the air cracks wide open. The whizzing sound is the sound of the bullet flying past your ear. If the bullet is flying past you on your left, you'll hear it on your left side. And if the bullet is flying past you on your right, it will be audible on your right side. When the bullet impacts the terrain, this sound will emerge from the point of impact, and when being hit from a bullet, well, I'm sure you know how that sounds already. So how does this all work together? For all weapons which are supersonic, meaning they have a bullet velocity of more than 340 meters per second, the bullet whiz or impact will always come before the gunshot sound. For snipers and assault rifles, the only subsonic weapon is the VSS. In this example, pay attention to the delay between the whiz and the gunshot sound. This shot is fired at 700 meters of distance, and this is at 300 meters. The bullet whiz is the really interesting one though. I'm gonna play you some footage of me being shot at by a Kar 98K standing in a straight line from my shooter but pointing my face in different angles. Check this out. I think this test proves why it's so difficult to know where you're being shot from, because when the bullet passes in front or behind you, it sounds the same, and when someone is shooting at you from behind, it almost sounds exactly like if he was shooting from the front. So the only sound which actually identifies the position of the enemy is the gunshot itself. let's put all this theory to work in a typical and completely realistic situation where 6 snipers all equipped with a Kar 98K are aiming at us while we're standing on a road on top of a dacha. When looking directly at them while they shoot, it sounds like this. Not surprisingly, it's clear to hear that the sound is coming directly at us. A very important note here is that this sound follows the position of your head and not the direction of your body. So, if you turn your head using free look, which is bound to the Alt key by default, then the sound will react accordingly. Now I will keep looking in a northern direction and each enemy will fire their weapon. Listen to this. And when I'm looking to the south, it sounds like this. Again, I think that the most critical part of the way the sound behaves is that it's nearly impossible to hear if the sound is coming from the front or behind you, but I think this is actually also how it would feel like in real life. So what are the takeaways from this guide? Well, first of all, you should really only focus on the actual sound of the gunshot in order to figure out where you're being shot from. And since being shot from behind sounds the same as being shot from the front, the only way you can separate the two is by turning your head in different direction while listening. Don't let the bullet whiz confuse you, you don't really need to worry about it when determining the position of your enemy. The delay between the gunshot and the bullet whiz actually tell us how far away the shooter is, but it's different for each weapon unless they have the exact same bullet velocity. Now that's all I had for you guys in this video. I hope you learned something, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And I also want to give a quick shout out to the awesome people who helped with the test. Their names can be found in the description below. And I'll see you guys next time.